I think maybe a place to start is to recognize that the current uncertainty will probably be replaced by other uncertainty. Right? I don't think we have any reason to believe that the current financial crisis is the end of instability. There'll be different kinds of instability. Some of it we hope would be better for organizations, like maybe rapid growth or unpredictably good times or something. But I think uncertainty is here to stay. And I think the first thing we have to do in terms of managing talent, but managing organizations more generally, is to not pretend that things are certain. They're not, right? And there are things that are unpredictable. And maybe we can get our hands around the range of likely outcomes. And maybe we can think about how best to respond to the surprises when they come up. And maybe we could think about hedging some bets, right? It's not an unusual idea. This is what insurance companies do for a living. This is what risk management as a function is about. Well, the biggest obstacle, and the first one, is measurement. We just don't have a good idea what different options cost us. We don't know what we're spending on things like talent bench, for example. What does that cost us? And I think all aspects of business are facing this now, that there's big pressure on costs, there's big pressure on accountability. We don't know what the returns are from different ways of hiring people, different channels through which people come into the organization. We don't know which ones work best. We don't know what sort of investments in people are cost effective, which ones pay off, which ones don't. And, if, as they say, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. And if you don't have a good sense of what good practices are in your organization, what's really working, it's hard to make progress. So the big thing is measurement, getting better at assessing the costs of what we're doing, and especially getting better at assessing the benefits. We don't have to be perfect at this, but at the moment we have no information. So a little information, and even if some of it is educated guesses, is better than nothing. I'd say the challenges of talent management seem to be the same the world over. The problems are the same. The need to anticipate what your human capital needs are going to be in the future, to try to find ways to meet those in cost-effective ways, to try to assess in advance who will be able to do bigger jobs, new jobs, obviously challenge everywhere. I would say in some ways it might look like the UK companies are behind. In other ways it might look like they are ahead, in that they seem to have skipped an iteration that at least the U.S. went through. And the iteration that the U.S. went through, there were periods of quite sophistication in the U.S. in the late 1970s, in the bigger companies especially. And then a long period, which is continuing in the U.S., of abandonment of all those practices. And a set of practices in the U.S. which are basically just responding to crises, firefighting. We have a big shortage of talent over here. Oh my gosh, what do? Let's hire a consulting company to go find us talent, or a search firm to find particular executives. There's a lot of that. So I would say, the UK firms are not nearly as sophisticated as big U.S. companies were in the late 70s, but they are more sophisticated than U.S. companies are now. They have more capabilities in terms of assessing people and taking internal candidates seriously. They have more interest in it. Among the top executives, it certainly appears that the idea that you should develop your people from within is something which, if not a priority, is at least a value in most of the organizations. So my sense is that by having missed this iteration that the U.S. companies went through, they may actually end up ahead of the U.S. on that.